Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV. And you know what, boys, I'm not in a shift mood for once. Let me tell you why. You're probably going to ask me, well James, your club's going through many injuries and you're facing first place Leicester on the weekend. Bear in mind you need points because you're going to try and go for the title this season, I assume. And you're right, my team is going to go for the title this season, and Leicester City, the team who we're playing this weekend, the team that I'm going to run through today and predict the starting 11 and the scoreline. By the way, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's a huge game, and the reason why I'm happy and the reason why I'm positive is because we've actually had a bit more positive news going into this. We know we have just came out of the shittest 2 weeks that has probably took place the whole season. And bear in mind, we lost to Villa 7-2 before an international break, so I'm just thinking to myself, and this is the worst, like seriously, this is the worst moment. Yes, it is. We've lost to Mo Salah, who's not available for this game. That's huge. Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously that never happened over the 2 weeks. But obviously we know he's out. Henderson out off due to international duty. Obviously could be back now, but at the time it was a nightmare hearing about that news. Same with Robbo. Same with quite a few other players who had an issue. But we also know, that we flip this then. Now we also know though that we brought back Naby Keita. Well, Naby Keita has been in, playing international football. Same with players like Shimikas, who haven't been getting as much minutes lately. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about all that, the prediction, line up to what I think is going to start. I'll also give an insight to what I would like to see start, if the options are available. But before we do get into that, and before we talk about Leicester and what they have to offer, which is a lot, I just want to give you a few fun facts about this fixture. So Leicester haven't beat Liverpool at Anfield since 1999. Unreal stat right there, because obviously we know that we do well against most teams at Anfield, but the fact that it's actually being like that for a lot of teams, there's quite a few teams who haven't got a result against us in quite a long time at Anfield, so just shows how much of a strong power stadium it is, not only in this generation but most others. And also Liverpool have won 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams. That's home and away. And obviously Leicester, the one that isn't the 5 of them 6 is actually a draw, so it's not like Leicester got the win there. Obviously this is a good fixture though. Brendan Rodgers, Jurgen Klopp, how do you get much bigger than that? The man who was our former manager is now getting taken over by Jurgen Klopp. In fact, I was speaking to Lee Chappie on the channel yesterday for like an opposition preview, the Jamie Vardy look like. For those who don't know who Lee Chappie is, you should know who Lee Chappie is, and go and watch that video after you've watched this, because he gives a really good insight, and he gave me his perception as a Leicester fan about Brendan Rodgers, and I thought, you know what, he makes a good point, because this is what he said. The 13-14 season, was it really Rodgers who bottled the league? Now, I understand what people are going to say, but he brought up the Gerrard slip, and obviously what the worst day of my life as a Liverpool fan, I was going to say one of, but it's actually the worst. However, that weren't Brendan Rodgers' fault that Gerrard slipped. It weren't necessarily Brendan Rodgers' fault that Sacco and Skirtle absolutely fucked it in that away game against Crystal Palace. There's so many things that quantify whether he's a bottler or whether it's them edges, it's them small moments that can change a game and change a season, let alone. So it's very interesting. But then he goes on to Celtic, he wins back-to-back trebles. What more can he really do? And then he joins Leicester. And ever since, he's done well with them. He's kept them as a top 6 side. Well, you say kept them. He's probably brought them back in to a top 6 side from the original title-winning team that he was before, with a completely different 11. Now, by the way, nowadays people would probably say this 11's better than Leicester's 11 that won the league. I'm probably one of them people. This is a huge game. Brendan Rodgers is going to be up for it. And with the fact he's had injury boosts to people like Ndidi and Castan and other players, that's big for them. That's huge for Leicester, and this is going to be a big game for Liverpool. Anyway, getting into the starting 11 prediction, as we always do. Leave in the comments down below who you think is going to start for Liverpool, because I'm actually very interested. Because like I said, there's 2 different lineups I can go with here. One that I want to see and one that I think I will see. So let's get started and let's run through each of the positions, because it is very interesting. So the formation is a 4-3-3. Some people are obviously going to throw in the 4-2-3-1. But I think 4-3-3 is our best formation in terms of fluidity. You need to be fluid against Leicester. Therefore, that's my formation. In goal, you go with Alisson. Don't need to really say much more. They're going to have a lot of shots. We need our best goalkeeper. Alisson starts every game if he's fit. So he's in goal for me. I think everyone will agree with that. Back 4. We'll start right back, James Milner. Now, people are going to say Nico Williams and say, but James, Nico Williams, and even Alex tried giving me this argument on the COP TV today. He said, Nico Williams, if he's not going to get a chance now, then when is he going to get a chance? And I gave him one back saying, basically, Alex, he's not going to get a chance now because there's a game on Wednesday or Tuesday against Atalanta. That can be his chance. Because just think about it, this is a huge game against Leicester City where we need 3 points to go above them in the table. We can't be underestimating this game just because it's early in the season. However, when you look at that Atlanta game midweek, we don't really need the 3 points. It's ideal if we get it because we guarantee top spot or we guarantee to go through or whatever. But we don't need them 3 points because bear in mind we've still got Ajax and Midtjylland to get another 3 points out of that. Wouldn't you say that's a better game for Nico Williams to start? One where there isn't as much pressure. That's just me. Now, some people will come back with the argument, well, James Milner's slow, James. Yeah, he's slower, but still, he can still do a job. You know, he can be reliable. And I thought he was fantastic when he came on against City, and I think he can do a very solid job against Leicester. Even though they are a very quick side, I just think, let's not put Nico Williams in a position where he's facing quality attackers in the attackers that Leicester have got. And if he does have a below par performance, then I can't be asked with Liverpool fans getting on his back again, because I actually think he can become a very good player. Don't rush him in. That's my opinion. So that's me right back. Centre-backs, I've gone with Joel Matip, obviously. Now, this is the toss-up. Nat Phillips or Fabinho, because I've heard that Reece Williams is out for this fixture. So let's ask the question, Nat Phillips or Reece Williams. Let's just say Fabinho's out. If it was out of them two, I would prefer Reece Williams because he's the more agile, more quick centre-back. And all I've seen from Nat Phillips is he's good in the air. And against Sebastian Haller, who, by the way, wouldn't have started for West Ham a couple of weeks ago if Antonio didn't get injured, then we know, we've now established that he's a more aerial player. He likes to get his head on the ball and try and score goals that way. But now we've saw Nat Phillips is good at that aspect. But one thing we also know is that Leicester don't play that way. They like to play more in behind. They like to try and test your team more. And I think it'll be interesting to see how Nat Phillips copes with that. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but I just think with the pace of Jamie Vardy, wouldn't you prefer the pace of a Reece Williams, who at least I think is quicker than a Nat Phillips? I don't know. So obviously, I would go with Fabinho next to Matip if he is fit, because we know that Fabinho can do good jobs against strikers like Vardy. Even remember a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago, should I say. In fact, it might be months where we played Chelsea and beat them 2-0. He had Timo Werner in his back pocket the whole game. So, of course, if I had my choice, Alisson in goal, Milner right back, Matip and Fabinho centre-backs, but I think he'll probably be Nat Phillips. And then left-back, Robbo. I'm going with Robbo left-back because even though I would like to probably see him rested, and I've been saying for a while now I want to see Robbo rested. I think, like I said, you've just got to start your best players in this game. Same reason why I put Milner over Nico Williams, same reason why I prefer Fabinho over Nat Phillips, same reason here. And again, we've got a good game there midweek that we could possibly start Shimmercast, but I wouldn't be upset to see Shimmercast included into the team. Anyway, moving in to the midfield, and again, make sure that you're following along in the comments down below. I've gone... See, now this is where it's quite confusing. Like I said, Henderson's being pictured in training, Thiago's being pictured in training. We also know Jurgen Klopp is stubborn if you haven't had any training sessions or enough training sessions before a game. So the way I want to see this midfield start, if it's fully fit, is Thiago in the 6 and Henderson and Gini just in front of him. I think Gini's been fantastic recently. He's been leading the side, the Netherlands side, to victories. He's been scoring for them. You know, he's really took over that role from Virgil van Dijk well. And I'm not talking about centre-back, I'm talking about the leader role, because he's got leadership skills, Wijnaldum, and everyone's talking about these contracts and these links. You sign him on a new contract because he's absolutely fantastic. But then if you put him next to a Henzo and a Thiago, that just elevates his performance a little bit more. Now, if you ask me what I think we could see start based on the back four I gave you and stuff, and say if there is no Thiago and Henzo, I think keep Gini, but move him to the 6, and then in front of him, play Naby Keita, who also has done quite well for his national side over the past couple of weeks, and Curtis Jones. Purely based on the fact he's been given minutes, and I think there's a chance that Jurgen Klopp might want to implement him into another game soon, especially if we've got problems with injuries. But some people would probably say, no, James, start Shaqiri over Curtis Jones if that's the case, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what Jurgen Klopp wants to do. Maybe he sees him as an actual winger, but he's tried that position once or twice. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And then the front three, I've gone with a Mane, I have gone with a Firmino, and I have gone with a Jota, because I just think that them three players are more than good enough to get goals against Leicester, even though it will be difficult. I just think that with no Salah, and as big of a miss as that is, we're going to need a fit and fired Jota. We're going to need a fit and fired Mane. And one thing they can do very well, which Leicester aren't as good at, by the way, is counter-attacking football. And I think that's the approach that Jurgen Klopp will take. But we'll look at a bit more of the approach that Jurgen Klopp will take in a bit. That's my starting 11. But also, before we do get into what Leicester's biggest dangers are and stuff like that, are we let me know in the comments down below, because I like to get you involved and I like to try and spark debate and spark conversation. Divock Origi, what are you saying on Divock Origi? Does he get a place in this game? Whether he starts, whether he plays? Firmino has not been on form recently, and I keep saying I feel like this could be the weekend where Firmino could come back, but at the same time, we need to outscore Leicester. Most likely, if we're going to win this game, at least that's the assumption of most Liverpool fans, and when it comes to this case, we do need to score more goals against them. We know Origi can get goals. So is there a place in this game for Origi? I'm not saying does he start, but is there a place, and do you think there's a place? Anyway, moving on to Leicester and their biggest threats and their best players. So if you're a Liverpool fan, and obviously you'll know about Leicester, but these are some players that you might not know as much about or as in much detail. So obviously Jamie Vardy, I'm pretty guaranteed that he's going to get a goal. Just gave away a little bit of what I might what I'm going to say my score prediction is, but 8 goals and 1 assist all season, 7 goals versus Liverpool FC in 11 games against the club. He's a kryptonite, and do you know what, I was on the bandwagon when he just first came on the scene and he was scoring them goals. I was like, mate, he's going to be falling off this soon. You know, he's 31, 32 at the time, or whatever age he was. He just looks quick. He can run in behind defences. That's really it. 4 years later, I'm now realising that he's an absolute baller, and that I'm not right about everything that I say, like Sadio Mane. But Jamie Vardy will be a big threat, and like I said before, I really hope to see Fabinho start, because I think he'll do a better job at dealing with a Jamie Vardy. Let's not disregard a Wilfred Ndidi, however, who is someone who's coming back into this game. He's made a 2.5 tackles per game as well as 2 interceptions. He controls that midfield, but not only does he control the midfield in a dominating defensive style of play, he's very good on the ball, he's a very good dribbler, and that's one thing that we will need to realise, is that he's going to probably try and take possession of the ball. And if Leicester are going to be able to keep possession in this game, I think a big part of that will be through Wilfred Ndidi. Wesley Fofana, one of their new signings from the summer, just signed him as a centre-back. 2 tackles per game, 3 interceptions per game. Fantastic new addition to Leicester City side. Brendan Rodgers, even though they've had a few injuries, like very recently they had a Soyuncu out and stuff like that. But Fofana coming in has been huge for Leicester, and it's been huge for their defence, and he can definitely keep out goals. Another thing about their defence, Schmeichel's obviously fit. That Shea Unzer, or whatever his name is, he looks very, very good as well. So they've got some really good, young, promising players. Let's not disregard Tielemans. Let's not disregard Maddison. There's even reports saying Ricardo Pereira might be fit for this game. Not sure how true that is, but if it is true, then that's a danger. But how should Liverpool approach this game, and how do Liverpool win this game? This is the way I think. We should look to exploit Leicester on the counter, and one thing that we need to realise is they're not very good at, defending set pieces, and even though we haven't really got many set piece takers like a Trent or whatever, I think that if we can really try and test them, then we could possibly get a goal or 2. But not only that, I also think that if the side that we should really attack down, especially if Robbo and Mane starts, is that left hand side. I think go down that side, attack. I think it'll be Justin James or what's his name? Justin James. Might be Justin James or James Justin. Can't quite remember his name. Either way, that hand side. Or is it Fuchs side? No, that's what it'll be. Mane running down the wing and attacking Fuchs, because we know that Mane will give Fuchs problems. And when Robbo and Mane, we know that side is a problem anyway. But not only is that side a problem, we also know that not only tracking back, but offensively, that's a huge problem. And I think Fuchs will definitely struggle to deal with that. So for the score prediction, I will say 2-1. I've been saying 2-1 for most of the predictions, and I'm not going to change now. I think that it will be a close game. I do think Vardy will score, but I don't think it'll be as high scoring as most people are trying to suggest, just because I think we'll actually be more compact than what teams are saying. I think people are underestimating our defence a little bit. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Again, thank you for everyone who's supporting. This weekend, live match reactions are back. Instant match reactions are back. And I can't wait, people. It's so good that this transfer window, I always call it a transfer window, international break, is now over. So, yeah, fantastic. But that is your starting 11 spoiler and also your score spoiler. So make sure you like, comment and all that good stuff, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra.